Hey guys, it's Jill and welcome back to my Booktube channel. This video is going to be the beginning of the year book tag. I've watched this video now for the past 2 years by Larry Reed, so I will link her video in the description bar below. Question number 1 is, how many books are you planning on reading in 2025? I'm just looking at my Goodreads challenge here and I want to read 65 books this year, and I've actually read 5 of 65 already, so I feel like I'm on track for that. There's also the community favorites challenges, which are the bookmarks. I've heard some people talk about them. I don't really care about them that much. It says I have 102 days left to get these different achievements, and there's like buzzy books, epic quests. I know a lot of people aren't really interested in those, and it's like new for Goodreads for 2025. I've honestly been considering moving from Goodreads to a different book tracking app, but I'm not sure what I want to go with, if Storygraph would be for me or the other one, Fable, but there were some issues with Fable too, so I don't know if I'm really interested in that one either. Question 2, we have a book that you're likely to reread this year, and I feel like I want to read Kingdom of Ash again, because when I read that, I feel like I was kind of in a huge reading slump, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have. So I feel like if I reread it, I will really love it and appreciate it a lot more than I did the first time. But on to question number 3, this is a priority read on your 2025 TBR. So I have Dune, which I've had for I think about a year now. I think I got it last year for Christmas, so I definitely want to start that series. And then also House of Flame and Shadow. I was waiting to finish the Throne of Glass series before I get back into that third Crescent City book. So now that I'm finally done Throne of Glass, I'll go to House of Flame and Shadow now, but I've heard kind of mixed reviews about that, so I'm eager to see how I'm going to like that. And then finally, Binding 13. I've had this for over 2 years now, I feel like, and I see it all the time on my TBR shelf, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't really interest me to pick it up. But I feel like this year will be my year, and this is the first book of quite a long series as well. So if I like that, then I'll probably continue with that series this year too. Question 4, we have an author you won't be reading more books from this year, and that will be Carly Fortune for me. Unfortunately, I was really not a fan of her past summer release. It was the pink one, I can't remember. I think This Summer Will Be Different. I think that was what it was called. I listened to that on Spotify and it was just kind of ridiculous. I found like the whole plot in the issue with her best friend, I thought was very over dramatic. And I didn't read Every Summer After, but I read her second book release and I think I gave that around 3 stars. And then for This Summer Will Be Different, I gave it either 3 or 2.5, something around there. So I feel like I'm good for Carly Fortune for now. And for question 5, something new you want to read, either genres or tropes. And I did say this last year, but again, I want to get into some more sci-fi like Dune. And then I also want to read some normal fantasy, not just fantasy romances. I feel like for 2024, all the fantasies I read were literally just fantasy romances, so I kind of want to branch out from that just a little bit. On to question 6, a popular book that you want to read. I really want to read The House in the Cerulean Sea. My sister recently read this and gave it 5 stars. She kind of compared it to Harry Potter, which I actually haven't read those books, but I've watched all the movies and I'm quite a fan of that, so I feel like I'll also really enjoy this book. Question 7, a most anticipated release for 2025. That is definitely going to be Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. It is out April 1st. I think that's what I have down in my notes at least. And I'm a really big fan of Abby Jimenez. I've loved all of her books. I think I've given most of them like a 4 star. So I have really high hopes for this new release in April. Question 8, a bookish goal for 2025. I'm wanting to be more creative with my YouTube and my Instagram accounts. I also want to, again, I said this in 2024, but I want to be more consistent on Instagram, which I honestly struggle with photo content. So that's definitely a challenge for me to keep up with. It was in 2024 and I didn't really stick to it. So I'm going to try again in 2025 and see how I do. Question number 9, a book on my TBR that I'll probably never read. And I feel like for me, that will probably be Twilight. This is just such a big book and I'm a fan of the movies, but I really don't have too much of an interest to read the book. 10, a series I want to read this year. There's so many series that I want to read. So first of all, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I'm so interested in reading this entire series. I follow her on TikTok and Instagram, and she talks a lot about the publishing industry and just her experience as an author, which I've really been enjoying watching her content. So I want to try her books because I remember in 2015 when the YouTubers that I watched at the time, it was Elle Fowler. She was talking about Red Queen and just raving about it, but at the time I wasn't really into the whole fantasy genre, so I didn't pick it up. But now I'm really interested in reading that series. And then another series I want to read, and I actually have all the books for now that I thrifted, all of them, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I believe it's called the Immortal Instruments series. And again, I have all of these, but I just haven't started them yet because they're all quite long books, so I guess I'm kind of intimidated by that, but I will definitely start this year. And then I also want to read the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, or at least start it, because I feel like there's quite a few books in that series, so I feel like it might take me quite a while, but I've just heard amazing reviews, and I feel like it also has a pretty strong fan base, so I feel like that one will definitely be right up my alley. Question 11, your auto-buy authors going into 2025, and you won't be surprised by this, I'm going to say Abby Jimenez, and then I'm also going to say Kristen Hanna, because I read 2 books I think in 2024 by Kristen Hanna, and I gave them both 5 stars. The Nightingale and The Woman, and they were just both amazing books. And I just got Firefly Lane for Christmas, and I'm going to read that very, very soon. So I feel like I'll pick up anything Kristen Hanna releases, and I want to read all of her backlist as well, because I feel like she's definitely a standout author for me. On to question 12 though, a book to show adaptation that you're excited about this year. I have 3. That is The Housemaid, and I saw they released the cast, and I feel like it will be very interesting. I also have Verity on this list, and I feel like I'm kind of getting mixed up who was cast for each one. I'm just looking up here the cast for The Housemaid. So The Housemaid is the one with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried. We have Sydney Sweeney as Millie, and then Amanda Seyfried as the mom, Nina. And then Verity is where we have Dakota Johnson and Anne Hathaway. But I'm excited for those 2. And then I'm also excited for Emily Henry's adaptation for People We Meet on Vacation. I feel like that will be a fun one as well. And I feel like all of her books are going to be adapted soon, but I don't think all of them are going to be this year. I just know of the one I'm pretty sure that will be. So on to question 13 now, a sequel that I'm anticipating. That would definitely be Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. This is the second book of, I know it's called different things in different areas, but let me just check. Okay, so this is the second book of Heartless Hunter, but it's also called The Crimson Moth in some places. This is a YA fantasy romance, and the ending of this was pretty crazy. I actually forget it now, but I remember when I was reading it, I thought it was pretty crazy. So I'm really excited for the sequel to come out, and I have high hopes for it. I wonder if it's going to be, actually it says here that it's a duology. So I guess this will be the last book for this little series here. But moving on to question number 14 here, what are bookish things that you're going to be leaving in 2024? And that is going to be reading books that I know that I probably won't really enjoy. So that kind of includes those holiday romances that are generally pretty mid. I was thinking of doing like a Valentine's Day themed romance book vlog, but then I was looking at the options on Kindle Unlimited, but I could kind of tell based off of the blurbs that I wouldn't really enjoy them, so I kind of scratched that idea because I want to read books this year that I feel like I'm going to rate like higher than 3 stars, so that is going to be left in 2024. Question number 15, what to expect from this account. I'm going to be doing reading vlogs, bookish vlogs, reading wrap-ups, and then hopefully other book-related challenges like reading specific authors for a week or reading certain genres for a week. I like watching and making those kind of videos. So that is what you would expect from me. I've heard some discourse online of people talking about how they don't really like TBR videos, so I feel like I might reduce those kind of videos. I haven't really done the monthly updated ones for a while now, but if people don't enjoy them, which I've seen on Reddit and stuff, then I don't really want to like make those kind of videos either. But I'm really excited to be continuing with bookish content for this year, and I hope that you guys subscribe and follow along with me as I figure out my channel and everything. On to question 16 though. How has your, oh, that's what I just did actually. Oh no, I didn't. How has your reading taste evolved from last year? So I feel like for the past few months maybe, I've started reading thrillers as kind of my palate cleansers between reading romances or fantasy romances, because I feel like thrillers are pretty easy to get into and they're very fast paced, so they don't put me in a slump or anything. So I'll probably continue with that into 2025. I wouldn't say that thrillers are my favorite genre because most of the time I feel like the twists are pretty unbelievable, but I do still enjoy reading them every so often. On to question 17. Who are some booktube creators who inspire you? Larry Reads, of course, but also Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader, Jamie Foxx as well. And then I recently discovered Nisha, and she does bookish content, but she also has been doing some writing vlogs because she's writing a fantasy romance, I believe, which is super cool, and I'm really looking forward to following her along with that as she finishes up that draft. But finally, on to question 18, something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account. I would say try your best to be consistent and just start filming as much as you can so that you get more comfortable talking to a camera, and then also engage with any of the comments that you get and reply to them, because as a small creator you don't get too many comments, so it's good to engage with your audience and reply to all the comments that you do get. So those are all the questions for this beginning of the year book tag. Thank you so much to Larry for creating this tag. Let me know you guys' bookish goals for 2025 in a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more book content, and I will see you guys in a new video really soon. Bye!